Hi, and welcome back to Spiritual Sage Astrology. I am grateful to have you here with me today. Before I get into the moon in Gemini, I want to bring out a little bit of the moon's cycle, waning and waxing period. The moon cycle is about 1 month, or respectively 28 days. The new moon time is called the waxing period. During the time from the new to the full moon is the time for you to go out and meet new people, sign contracts, and promote your life. The time of the waxing moon is metaphysically and spiritually filled with subtle forces that you will not necessarily see or touch. These forces are protected during this time of the moon's fluctuations. The value of the moon cycle law is, remember, when first entering a house you may buy, when meeting someone new, when signing a contract or traveling to a different country, the first time you touch new ground, you are giving birth to a section of your life. After the full moon, it is time of release and cleansing, a time to clear, get rid of the old, and turn inward. So the heavens are opening up for you today, moon in Gemini, and they have a few things they'd like to share with you that perhaps you didn't realize about yourself. Share perhaps some of your superpowers and your gifts that you perhaps are not utilizing, or that somebody that you know is not utilizing to live their best lives. When we know some of these gifts that we have, we can have better, more rewarding lives. And sometimes that might even be why our lives may not be that fulfilling, because we haven't tapped into that. We don't have that knowledge, and we haven't tapped into those gifts, those superpowers that we have. I do personally know a few Gemini moons that I don't believe are aware of these gifts that they have. So let me bring some of them out. And I want to start with, once again, the dark and the light. The moon in Gemini has that as well as most other things, the yin and the yang. A moon in Gemini modifies your sun sign in this way. The bright side of Gemini moon, you're going to be more versatile, witty, charming, lively, and amusing. Now the dark side of the Gemini moon, you're more disorganized, inconsistent, superficial, cunning, and could be manipulative. In the lively, restless sign of Gemini, the moon's sway becomes more mutable and erratic. This does not make all moon and Gemini children flighty, frivolous, and frantic, but almost always indicates an active mind, an imaginative and creative personality, and someone who is inclined toward intellectual pursuits. If you have a moon in this position, you are extraordinarily quick to receive sensory impressions from the outside world. You rapidly sift through information and make your judgments. Because Gemini is a mental sign, your snap decisions tend to be more intellectual than emotional. It is not that you're unfeeling, moon in Gemini. It's simply that your immediate reaction to stimuli is more on a mental plane. You are a fast learner, and you probably have a high IQ, and are an excellent critic, for you have an ability to both analyze and to verbalize. A moon in the communicative sign of Gemini inclines you toward loquaciousness and endows you with great personal charm. You have enchanting vivacity that draws others to you. Conversations with you tend to run off and on unexpected tangents and take sudden turns and reverses. At heart, a lunar Gemini is essentially restless and needs constant stimulation. If forced to be indoors or solidarity or inactive, you are unhappy and should try to set aside a part of the day to get out and be among people. A moon in Gemini makes you extremely impressionable to the changing scene around you. Skill in speaking and writing predisposes many lunar Geminis to become writers, teachers, and journalists. John Keats, Rudyard Kipling, Jack London are only a few famous moon in Geminis of the past. As a moon in Gemini person, you are always mentally assessing what you are feeling. You tend to dissect your feelings and emotions to analyze why you think this way or behave that way. The most famous lunar Gemini who possessed this quality is Sigmund Freud. Freud also had his sun in Taurus and Scorpio rising, giving him extraordinary tenacity and depth of insight. You are quick-witted and vibrant, and when you come across a new fact or a different way of looking at something, you are likely to undergo a change of mind. One can count on your firm convictions. One can't count on your firm convictions, but your openness to life makes you a fascinating companion. In emotional relationships, lunar Geminis display a certain free spirit. Here is where you are most intensely restless. You resent being subject to the whims and varies of other people's emotions and struggle to retain independence. At the same time, you search for the perfect love, which of course does not exist. If your would-be lover is elusive or hard to figure out, this especially piques your interest. The moon in Gemini personality is high-strung. You have a streak of discontent that sometimes shows up as irritability and snappishness. On the other hand, you are amusing, witty, and have a wonderful sense of humor. When you are in the right mood, you are a delight to be with. At times, your talent can be stymied by the fact that you lose interest in things so quickly and drop what you so eagerly began. You thrive on travel, change, and meeting different kinds of personalities. In business, your best qualities are versatility and a winning way with people. You perform very well when linked in partnership with someone practical and hard-headed. Having to make a final decision is torture for you. You need a strong, decisive partner. No matter what your sun sign may be, the Gemini moon qualities of versatility and intellectualism can be discerned in your personality. If your sun is in an air sign such as Gemini, Libra, and/or Aquarius, your keen intelligence is accentuated by a Gemini moon, and you have a superb gift of self-expression. If your sun sign is in a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, your emotional nature is sharpened by the Gemini moon mental acumen, and you have strong creative instincts and a talent for research. If your sun is in an earth sign such as Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, a Gemini moon gives you quickness of mind that you can use in a practical way in combination with your sun sign persistency. If your sun sign is in a fire sign such as Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, a Gemini moon bestows high mentality that, combined with your passion and adventurism, indicates superior leadership ability. Whatever your sun sign, a moon in Gemini imparts a witty intellect, an independent spirit, and an imaginative sparkle to your personality. So now I'd like to bring out a few famous people with the moon in Gemini. Fred Astaire, the dancer from the 40s and 50s era. He might have even gone back a little bit earlier than that. But he was the one that was in the movie or Singing in the Rain, or that might have just been a song. That was Fred Astaire, guys. And Joan Baez, most people know who Joan Baez is. She was a singer-songwriter, poet, in the 60s and 70s era. Joan Baez also had a moon in Gemini. Brigitte Bardot, actress, model. I'm not sure when her era was. Might have been more like 60s, 70s. If somebody could leave that in the comments, that would be so great. Brigitte Bardot, moon in Gemini. Sigmund Freud, as we just brought out, psychologist Sigmund Freud, had the moon in Gemini. Steffi Graf, the famous tennis player, I believe she was really at her height of career, would probably be in the 90s. Quite an athlete. Steffi Graf has the moon in Gemini. Buddy Holly, singer from the 50s. Buddy Holly, 50s music era. Singer, musician, Buddy Holly had the moon in Gemini. Spencer Tracy. Spencer Tracy was an actor in the 40s and 50s, I believe. Spencer Tracy had his moon in Gemini. Queen Victoria from history. Queen Victoria had her moon in Gemini. Barbara Walters. She's the news anchor, and she used to interview many actors and stars. Probably back also in the 90s. I mean, I think her career spans quite long. Barbara Walters, news anchor, had the moon in Gemini. And last but not least, Andy Warhol, the famous painter, artist. Andy Warhol had his moon in Gemini. And that will conclude the moon in Gemini. And once again, Gemini, when you go out and sit under those beautiful luminaries, the stars, and the beautiful moon, know that they are much more there than just beautiful luminaries. They're alive, and they are there to guide us, to guide you, moon in Gemini. And know that you are noble because you are made from those stars. Have a lovely day. Please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And have a lovely day.